to the curve, where ideas take flight, blending tech and teaching.
Hey, welcome to the Learning Curve. My name is Carl Moen, Digital Learning Specialist here at Region 7.
And I'm Cindy Nivell, the Digital Learning Coordinator here at Region 7.
And today we are going back to a conversation we've had for a while,
Yes.
for the last couple of years, talking about artificial intelligence. What we want to talk about today, though, is less in the tool realm. It's less in the classroom kind of space, and really more in the policy world, which doesn't sound exciting.
You don't love reading legal documents,
I really,
Carl?
yeah, no,
Oh, man.
I don't. But
We differ there.
But what the work that we've been doing, that's been really, really thrilling.
Yeah.
And maybe that's too heavy of a word, thrilling. I don't know. But it's been a lot of fun, and I think it's because this is so new, and we're just really trying to help. We're trying to learn it ourselves, but then we're trying to help districts develop language and a vision and understanding around how are we using all of these things.
The word I would use would be engaging.
Yeah.
It is what
That's a good
we've
word.
been able to do has been take what we already know about, such as resource integration into systems, or the work that we've done before with curriculum management plans and things such as that. And now we're seeing that here is this tool that is now readily available to every citizen.
Yeah.
And it is now in most education platforms and resources. So now it's taking, how do we take best practice with this complete disruptor of a resource, and how do we make it fit so that it's working positively to impact our kids, our schools, our teachers, and our kids' futures? That's the thing that it's truly engaging to me, because right now, as we are on the cusp of these changes and these integrations and policy development and so forth, it's been an opportunity to trailblaze.
Yes.
And that's so engaging to me, because there's a lot of times there hasn't been an answer.
You're right.
It's we need to go reach out to others in other states, or we need to dig in and figure out how to do it ourselves and then try to verify that somewhere else. So highly engaging work that I think will be so impactful for the districts within our region.
Yeah, I agree. So let's talk about that.
Okay.
So some of the work that we've done in Region 7. We started this year, this is our first year to do this, a program called AI Alliance, where we are working with district and campus leaders to try to help them put language around policy about how they're going to integrate AI tools into their classes. And so that's been really exciting work. And we're on month 5, I think, in that process.
We are.
And we based a lot of the work around a curriculum management plan, because if you don't know anything about curriculum management plans, they're holistic, and they take into account everybody. Everyone,
All the
from
stakeholders,
superintendent down,
all the departments,
all the departments,
Yes.
budget, business office, HR, all of the things
Yes.
have to go into effect when you're thinking about what I'm teaching my students and what the outcomes of that are supposed to be. So we're taking the exact same approach with AI.
Right.
And
which might feel a little weird. I'm
Yes.
just going to interject. That might feel a little weird, because people are seeing AI as some big something, some big mystery, right? But we're approaching it from a resource perspective,
Right.
because it is a resource for teachers. It is a resource for students. It's a resource for business office, for workflows. For all of us are going to use it for workflows eventually. And so I want to stamp that. That's how we're able to do it, because ultimately it's going to be integrated into all those systems. And so truly it's no different than like a textbook adoption, or we're going to use QuickBooks in the business office. It's a similar idea. And so I do want to take some time just to stamp that, that's really where it belongs. It's not a big, untouchable mystery that we must avoid, because what we're hearing is within the next 3 years, and it might be a shorter timeline,
probably.
all of our jobs will incorporate AI at some level. Therefore, we got to get ahead of it.
Yeah. So let's start there, because one of the things, the first part, I mean, the first day, the work that we've done with other districts, it's really easy and it's really fast to go to tools to think about, well, what am I going to
Yes.
use? What tool am I going to use? What's the coolest, newest thing that's out there? And we've talked about tools on the podcast, and there's some exceptional tools out there. But when you're starting this conversation at a holistic level, you can't start at the classroom level. You have to start at a vision level, at a mission level. And so when we've done this training with the Alliance and then with districts, individual districts, it's what is the mission statement of the district?
Yes.
First of all.
Yeah.
Like, what are we trying to do as Region 7 ISD before we ever even think about
Right.
AI? It's who are we? What does our graduate look like? Right? It's thinking about things like that.
And it's about that makes it more approachable.
Right.
If you think about your vision and mission statement, I bet in that vision and mission statement is something about creating future-ready citizens.
Yeah.
Well, AI literacy is helping create a future-ready citizen. So it's just that there's this new thing that has to be incorporated, and if we'll put it into systems and ideas that we already have,
Right.
and then we make sure that it's aligned, it's integrated, it's not unbalancing something.
Yeah.
It's not a random variation. Random variation is the enemy of a system, right? Then when it's in its spot and it's used properly, then it will just help that system work more
Right.
effectively
Yeah.
and efficiently.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's exactly where we've got to consider the beginning of that process. So what's my mission, my vision as a district?
Yes.
Then as we work through that and we identify all of those things, what is my vision around AI? What do I believe about AI? Because, and I'm going to go back to your textbook adoption here for a second. If I don't know what I believe about curriculum, if I don't know what I believe about assessment, if I don't know
Okay,
what I believe
yes.
about my students, then picking a textbook isn't going to matter.
Right.
And so what we really need to think about before I go select this program or that program for instruction, what do I believe about instruction? And so the same thing applies when we're thinking about AI. Before I go select a tool, it's what do I believe about AI? What do my teachers believe about AI? How do we systematically think about artificial intelligence before we can put it into practice?
And what we're finding is people don't know what they believe yet.
Yeah.
And so there is a point where AI literacy must be considered. Teaching individuals learning what AI actually is, how it actually works, but then thinking about what are my beliefs then about how AI can impact my workflows and
Right.
planning, or how can AI impact assessment, how can AI impact feedback, how can AI impact, I could go on, and looking at, once we truly understand what it is and how it works in those places, then we come at it from an informed position to be able to then make these decisions and have this high level conversation of how does this fit into our mission and vision.
Right. So once we develop our mission and vision, now we can, like you just said, now we can start to think about what's the system look like? How are we going to design it? What are we going to? But then we have to bring in the other stakeholders, because now we've got to really consider what does this look like from an IT point of view? What does this look like from a curriculum point of view? What does it look like from a campus level point of view? Right. And as we consider what AI looks like across the board, my kindergartners are not going to use AI systems the same way that my 11th and 12th graders are going to use them. So what do we think about the development of skills, of competencies as we grow from kindergarten through 12th grade? And this is where we get to have some real control over the implementation of that process, because I get to set parameters around the use of this product at middle school, but that has to start with what I believe about it first. Because if I'm not clear about what I believe about it, if I haven't codified that in some way, then it's just completely random what the sixth grade teacher said they wanted, and so the IT person's like, well, do I give it to them or not?
Right.
If I already have a belief system set in place, then that can help guide some of those conversations. And so that's really part of the process of developing an AI management plan. Is what's my vision? What's my belief? How am I going to involve stakeholders in this process? What's the budget that I'm going to apply to this? Because as AI has been brand new, much of it has been accessible for nothing. It's been free. That's not going to stay. I mean, that's going to change at some point, because it costs a lot of money to develop these massive AI platforms and these educational programs. So at some point it's going to cost money. Well, how are we going to spend our money?
Right.
Because there's only so many dollars that we have. A dollar I spend here is a dollar I can't spend here. So how are we going to do that? Then we get into, now what does it look like in a classroom?
Right.
What does it look like
Right.
in an individual teacher? And then what does it look like for students? So that literacy piece, I'm going to come back to that. All of this is developing AI literacy.
Yes.
All of this is developing, what are these things doing in the background? How are we going to use them ethically and responsibly, which we'll get to that in a minute. How am I going to pay for it? And then how am I going to train my teachers to use this in the classroom? And all of that is literacy. That's the first step.
Right.
And then we get into implementation and we get into practice.
You know, Carl and I use the analogy when we talk to districts about it, how important that piece is.
Yeah.
Because you have to define where you're going with it so that then we can set our belief around how we should move forward.
Yeah.
Because you need all your stakeholders to be on the same page, right? And
Right.
you need to also have a system where they learn how to use this productively. And they do that within a framework where they feel supported.
Right.
Right. And it's no longer threatening.
Right.
It is
Right.
something where I know that I have the opportunity to learn, or I can sit back and watch somebody else use it and make a decision. And there's lots of different pieces in there with that. But I thank you for pointing out that it's not tools first.
Right.
It's actually policy and belief first. Even though I will say what we've found in districts, the conversation starts with tools.
Yep.
And then we have to go, whoa. What's your policy?
Mm-hmm.
And we are not finding that there is
Mm-hmm.
policy quite yet. We have some districts that are really working hard. I'm going to say now we're inching up to about 16.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
16 or 17. And so once that policy is in place, then you can make the decision about the tool.
Right.
But it's kind of like driving on a road with no lines. If you don't know where your lane is, something could happen.
Yeah.
So that we really think we need to start with policy.
Yeah, and it sounds like it's a long process, and it is. I mean, we're not going to. Well, she said it's not. I said it is.
It's a 2-hour conversation.
It's a yes,
generally,
and you have to really think your way through that. And when you're talking about policy, it's not always the most exciting thing. But I will note that as we had this conversation with one district, there was a teacher who had already actively been using some of these tools. And as we worked through that conversation, it was towards the end, but at the end of that conversation, she said, I understand why this has to happen before I can use the tool. Because she was upset that they cut off her tools. But she was able to work her way back to see, I understand why this is part of it. In some districts, that looks like we're going to put a group of teachers together and we're going to help sit down and write the policy. In some districts, it looks more like the administrators are helping kind of set and cast a vision, and then bring teachers along in that way. And there's not a right way to do it.
Right.
It's just we need to really try to think holistically about working through that.
Excuse me. Let's talk about that campus level, right?
Yes.
The administrators. So I think that's a key piece too to consider,
Yeah.
because the belief of, as you said, what it looks like at an elementary versus what it looks like at a high school, that's very informative to then, well, what does that mean for that integration, and what is our expectation for those? So I think that's a key piece too. When you're forming whatever your AI committee looks like, it needs to engage various stakeholders.
Yes.
And the more you can work your district toward a tipping point of wanting to do this, the better it's going to go. So that maybe you have some early adopters who want to use AI that practice with tools. Only they're giving permission, and they practice with tools and they're having success. Well, then other people are going to hear and go from it. Or, the elementary or probably the middle school starts with it, and then they're having success. So the high school wants it. And so think about that situation like this. This is not at all being proposed as you need to write policy and push it down.
Right.
I think it would be much more successful, since right now we don't even have many policy guidelines.
No.
For you to do it kind of a grassroots kind of opportunity as you work with this in your district.
And I really think that right now is a great opportunity, especially in Texas, to do some of this work, because there's not there's not much policy, there's not much language even that's been given to us by the state. And so we have an opportunity to begin to maybe think ahead
Yes.
of where the state is. Now, we do want to address a law that has recently gone into effect. So it was passed in July, I believe, of 2025, and it went into effect January 1. And it's the Texas Responsible AI Governance Act, right? TRAIGA, TRAIGA. And it offers some guidance for government institutions, for developers of AI programs, for what that needs to look like, and how the language going into. So, for example, we've created an AI tool.
Yes.
And it has what the law is called, it makes consequential decisions on student work, right? It offers some scores, it offers some feedback. So a district who uses that, and even us, even we, as we push this out, and it's not a negative thing. We just have to put language on the platform that says this is an AI-enabled tool, and it does make consequential decisions about student work. And if we do that, then we're covered. The whole idea behind this, I'm not going to say we're covered. I don't want to make a legal argument here on camera, but there's a level of protection that
Yes.
comes behind that, and it's a level of information that goes to the students, the parents, all of the users of that product, and so we want to make sure that you as districts, you as schools, that you're taking into account all the guidance that we currently have available.
Right.
And it's trying to make sure. So when you think about it, and you mentioned curriculum resources that are already out there that are AI enabled, we have to make sure that we let our stakeholders know that these products that we're using, and they're already in use, but these products that we're using are AI powered powered products.
Well, and then the other layer to that in TRAIGA is that there's got to be some training for teachers to help them understand what Carl and I call the human AI human process. I mean, that's the simplest I can boil it down to. That the human's going to input something, the AI is going to make some form of consequential output. And then there has to be a human reflection on that before any action is taken. There also has to be human involvement in what the AI is doing to make sure there's no bias, there's no incorrect information. There's 4 different categories that we won't delve into, but that's really the important thing. And that goes back to that AI literacy, right? That just because it was generated from AI doesn't necessarily deem it good or bad, but we as the humans are the actual thinkers. Because AI doesn't think. AI just pulls information from multiple spots and puts it together for you. In whatever form that is that you're needing. So that's another impact of this law, which is our first one. Very first one in Texas. I'm kind of excited.
I am too.
Because, I mean, Louisiana and Oklahoma, not to dog on them, but they had policy before us.
And I've already seen in my own personal life,
Yes.
I've seen the effects of I think of the effects of this law, because I've seen more and more systems that are powered by AI say this is AI powered. And so I don't know if this law had any effect on that, but it seems like that's coming in.
And I think that's best practice. It's good practice for we need to be informed of what's going on. That's good.
So this law, it says, will be begin to be enforced completely in July of 2026. So we just need to take some steps to make sure that we are in compliance with that law. Cindy mentioned training. One of the things that we do is training on AI. We have a series coming up this spring called AI Foundations, and it walks through AI literacy, developing literacy. It talks about efficiency and workflows. Then it goes to differentiation, and then finally in closing the gaps. And so that's that series, that AI Foundation series. We're doing it this spring. We're going to repeat it this summer. We'll repeat it again in the fall. And we've already had some districts reach out about training specifically toward AI. Now, we will say, just a disclaimer, we don't know exactly what that needs to look like. There's no guidance on what that has to be. But we will, as soon as we know, we will absolutely develop training that can be used for that as well.
It's an exciting time to be a part of this. And it's an exciting opportunity to be a forward thinker, to not only incorporate this brand new not brand new now. Gosh, we're on what, year 4?
Year 3, 4, yeah.
3 or 4?
Yeah, year 4.
To incorporate this technology that is a disruptor, but let's just do it using best practices. Let's think methodically, understanding what we've done in the past to try to use it, and let's involve stakeholders, right? And think about what can we do, because ultimately one of the reasons I'm so excited about leading this is I've got 2 boys in the system, and they're going to need to graduate from school knowing how to use AI in order to be career ready and college ready.
Right.
And so that's something that I want us just to think about. What is our reason for integrating AI? It's our kids.
Yes.
It's our students. Ultimately, yes, I think it'll make a giant impact on what teachers are able to do within a certain amount of time. But ultimately, we've got to be the information givers and the leaders for our kids to be able to use this.
Absolutely. So it is exciting. It's been a lot of fun. Even working on policy has been very engaging, and so I'm excited to be a part of that work.
Yeah.
And I'm learning something new every time we go out, every time we do one of these meetings. And what's also been really exciting to me is to see the enthusiasm that people have approached this with, where perhaps a couple of years ago they were a little more timid, where they're now going, okay, let's do something about this. So.
And I'll say, contacts that we've had even nationally.
Yes.
I mean, in AI Alliance, that's been one of my favorite parts. Of course, my favorite's always working alongside districts, talking to them. But we've had people at the national level give their time and energies and expertise just to make sure that we here in Region 7 have the best information possible. You can check out some of that information. I think we've talked about some of it on different podcasts. But goodness, having national level speakers like Holly Clark and Dr. Poth and Tyler Tarver, and it's been fabulous, as well as our vendor partners.
Yes.
The people at Magic School and School AI and Snorkel and DFID, they have been absolute fabulous partners, and it's been really wonderful to see how what's available can impact classrooms. But we are truly seeing, as we look at that, how that policy has to be in place before that's used.
Yeah, absolutely. We've also learned quite a bit as we've done this first year, and already have great plans for the second year and what that looks like. And so we would love to partner with you, whether it's through AI Alliance or it's through just spending some time with us and taking you through some just things that we've learned about developing policy. We want to be available, and that's really why we're here. Is to support you in that process. So keep your eyes up for looking out for the AI Foundations, the spring, the summer, and then again in the fall, and whatever opportunities that you have to partner with us in developing AI policy or just thinking through it. We'd be glad to work with you on that. So any final words or anything like that?
Don't wait.
No.
Don't wait. Now's the time.
Absolutely.
It's already in your system, so we need to put regulations around it
and
policy around it. So don't wait. Now's the time to do it.
All right. Well, thanks so much, and we will see you next time.
Welcome to the curve, where ideas take flight. Blending tech and teaching, sparking insight. From digital tips